Episode 1, series premiere, season 1, After Hours, El Penguino. And it's your boy Icon back with a DC television review for you, coming fresh off of New York Fashion Week, and I'm tired. I have a lot of videos up on my channel from New York Fashion Week, and I still have a few more to go, so I'm still uploading videos from that. But now I have 11 videos up on my channel right now, so we're going to take a quick break and go back to doing some of this superhero TV, these TV reviews and everything, because after we do The Penguin, I'll also be doing Agatha All Along on Disney+. So, The Penguin has finally arrived, and the episode starts. It starts with The Penguin. It starts actually a week after The Batman. And here's something that's like personal to me, because back in the day I used to have cable, and when I had cable I had New York 1. And I remember, and I've been watching New York 1, like for years, ever since New York 1 was a thing. And I remember all the news anchors and all the news analysts, like I've watched them when they first started up until now. After a while, like I cut cable, I no longer have cable, like I rock with YouTube TV now, and YouTube TV doesn't have New York 1, so I don't get to watch New York 1 anymore. The beginning of the Penguin series, when they're talking about the aftermath of when the Riddler basically flooded Gotham, because this takes place 1 week after the Batman movie, they had all the anchors from New York 1 doing the news reports about how Gotham's underwater, how there's a power vacuum with the mobsters, how Carmine Falcone is dead. And I'm looking at these people, I'm like, holy shit, I haven't seen these people in years. That actually made me smile, and I was happy to see. I was happy to see all of them, which is kind of cool. So again, but they're talking about the power vacuum, and they're just like, now Carmine Falcone, his son, Alberto Falcone, he's supposed to take over as head of the family. In Gotham, he was Mario. He wasn't Alberto. So the Penguin, he goes down to the Iceberg Lounge, and when he goes to the Iceberg Lounge, he's basically going to pillage some of Carmine's like old shit, like stealing his jewelry, any files and any information that he has on like police officers, politicians. Like he's basically trying to get influence, because now that there is a power vacuum, for control of Gotham, he wants his piece of the pie. But when he's there at the Iceberg Lounge, he bumps into Alberto Falcone. And then Alberto's just like, you're trying to steal from my father, you son of a bitch. And then he's just like, hold on. He was like, yo, let me talk to you for a second. So the two of them sit down, they have a conversation. And then Penguin basically tells him, he's just like, yo, I worked for your dad. He's like, I loved your father, and you could be just as good as your father was. Now, Alberto, at first, he wasn't hearing it. He was like, first of all, like, you're a liar. He said, you basically came here to steal from a daddy. And he was like, what makes you think that you have what it takes, to still be a part of this organization? And then, he was just like, yo, it's like, he's like, I run the businesses, I run the trade, like I run the hub and all the drug stuff. He's like, you need me, kid, and he's like, you'll be good, going forward into the future. And then that's when he said to him, he was just like, he kind of came down a little bit, because the son, he has like an alcoholic problem. He has a problem with drugs. And he told Penguin, he said, listen, he's working on something new, something revolutionary. He has this new drug that's coming out, and a shipment of it is supposed to be arriving like in a day or two. And he said that once this drug gets out, it'll revolutionize like a new wave of money that'll be coming into the family. But he told Penguin, he was like, don't tell anybody yet, because I'm still trying to keep like the details of it a secret. And then the two of them kind of like bonded a little bit, like they smoked cigars, like they were drinking. And then he asked Penguin, he was like, do you think I can actually be as good as my dad was, or better? And then Penguin told him a story. He said that, back when he was a kid, he was like, yo, there was this guy, he was the biggest mob boss in my town. And he said, but the guy, although he was a mob boss, he used to give money to people who needed it, like struggling families. He would give out like turkeys for Christmas. He would give out coats during the holidays. If you're sick, if your kid was sick, he paid for the doctor bill. And he said that despite the fact that this person was a mobster and a bad guy and did like horrible things, he was still loved by the community. Like the community still embraced him and accepted him. And he said that the guy eventually died of a heart attack. And when he died of a heart attack, the entire town threw a parade for him. And he was saying that despite all the evil that he did, despite all the bad things that he did, in the end, he was still loved and still revered by the community and by the city. And then that's when Alberto started laughing at him. He was just like, wait a minute. He was like, you want me to be like that soft son of a bitch? But then he was like, wait, no. He's like, you don't want me to be like him. He said, that's your dream. He said, this is what you want. He was like, you want to be loved and revered, like by the town and by everybody. And he was just like, yo, that's some soft ass shit. Like, what sort of, he said, nobody's going to follow your fat ass with, like with a limp. He's like, nobody wants to have anything to do with the Penguin. And he was like, you soft son of a bitch. And then Penguin got mad and he shot him. And I'm just like, well, you was talking that shit, so you get dealt with real quick. Like, that's how we do it back in the day. And after he shot him, he realized what he did. He was like, fuck. He's like, I just killed like the heir to the mob throne. So now he's trying to hide the body, and then when he's trying to hide the body, and for some weird reason, he has a plum-colored car. It does not fit Penguin at all. It just looks weird with him driving it. It looks like the Joker mobile, if I'm being honest, but it was his car. There were a bunch of kids that were trying to like steal his hubcaps or like steal his radio. So he started shooting at the kids, and then one of them got scared and froze, and he held the gun to the guy's head, and he's just like, "Oh, you want to rob me, you son of a bitch? Like, you want to try to steal my shit?" And then he was just like, "Well, because you were the only one that didn't run," he's like, "You work for me now. You're gonna be my butler." He's like, "You're gonna be my right hand, and you're gonna take me and take me around the city and do everything that I got to do." And then he told the kid, he was like, "Yo, by rights, I should pop you right now." But then he was just like, "No, I could be a valuable asset." And he was like, "Well, you better prove it, kid." So now the kid is like his own personal assistant, like his right-hand man. The kid's name is Victor, not Victor Stone. He's driving him around Gotham, watching him like do all his drops, do all of his drug business. And then while he was handling his drug business, the family ended up contacting Penguin and said that they wanted to see him. So Penguin goes down to the mansion, the Falcone mansion, and I guess he's talking to like some of Falcone's partners or like his bookies or like the people that handle his money or whatever, like the family, like where everybody meets. So he's having a conversation with them, and they basically told him, they were like, "Look, we're shutting down your drug operation and we're moving it to a different part of town." But then he was like, "Yeah, but the part of town you want to move it to, that shit is broke." He's like, "That shit ain't gonna make no money." He said, "All the money's right where it is." But they were like, "Yeah, but because of the whole thing with the Riddler and with the Batman, and we don't want any smoke right now." So he said it's best that we just move the operation. And then in an act of desperation, Penguin was just like, "Look," he said, "don't move the operation because I'm working on something big. There's some new drug that's coming in. I got a shipment coming in pretty soon. And once we get this new drug on the street, trust me, we'll make all the money that we want." So he's basically talking about the same thing that Alberto told him. Now, here comes Sophia Falcone. And I remember the Sophia Falcone character from the TV show Gotham. I was in love with her. Like the girl who played Sophia Falcone on Gotham, and then she eventually ended up being Abby Arcane on Swamp Thing. I loved her as an actress. Like I loved her as Abby Arcane, and I loved her as Sophia Falcone because she was like a mob boss. Like she stepped into that role perfectly. So I was a little like apprehensive, like because the thing with this girl, the woman who's playing Sophia Falcone now, she's not playing a sexy, elegant, and regal, revered mobster that everybody sees as like the princess of the city. This chick came fresh out of Arkham. Like she was in Arkham for killing somebody. She a little crazy, but you can see it in her eyes too. So she plays that part very well. Like the crazy aspect of it, like she does very well. But she's fresh out of Arkham, and then she was just like, "Oh," she was like, "Have you seen my brother, Oswald?" And then that's when the other guys, they were just like, "Yo, get out of here, Miss Falcone." And I'm like, how you gonna tell Falcone? How you gonna tell her to get out of here? Like, if anything, you work for her. But then they were just like, the Penguin was like, "Look, so are we going to keep the operation going?" And they were like, "No." They said, "You got 48 hours to close up shop or that's your ass." So then as he leaves, Sophia Falcone follows him outside, and she's like, "Oh, you never answered my question, Oswald." She's like, "Have you seen my brother?" And then he was like, "No." And then she goes like, "Is this your car?" And then he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's my plum-colored mobile." And then she was just like, "Oh, there's a bullet hole. How did that happen?" And he was like, "I asked some kid to try to like steal my hubcap, so I had to like bust shots at him." And I'm just like, you're telling her a little bit too much information because she's asking these questions for a reason, and we find that out later. But then she was just like, "Oh, let me take you out to dinner, Oswald, so we can catch up and chat." So they're at dinner, and then while they're at dinner, she basically told him straight up, she was like, "Look, my brother told me about his drug business situation. He told me about the shipment, and he told me about his plans. The only two people that knew about it was he and I. There's no way that you would know about it. And if he did tell you about it, I find it very convenient that my brother's been missing for a few days, and now you're claiming his drug business as your own in front of the family. So I'm going to ask you again, what the hell happened to my brother? Because you seem very confident that he's not coming back." And then Penguin being Penguin, he's quick on his feet. He told her, he was like, "Look, we all know that your brother has a drug problem." He's like, he's into drugs, he's into alcohol. He's like, hell, he probably got a sex addiction. But he's like, that's not the first time your brother's gone AWOL. He went missing. And to be honest, he was like, "Yo, I panicked in the room." He was like, "They tried to shut down my business. So he said, me and my loose mouth, me and my slick tongue, I just came out of my ass and said the first thing that came to mind so I can try to hold on to what I had." But he was like, "But trust me," he's like, "Your brother always comes back. He'll pop up eventually. Like, you just got to be patient." So then she said, "Okay," she gave him a kiss on the cheek. And then she was just like, "Oh," she's like, "People underestimate you, Oswald, but I don't." And then he took that as like, "Oh shit, she knows the truth." So then him and Victor, they went to his mama house because he was like, "Mom, we got to go." Because, he was trying to put his mom somewhere where she'd be safe because he knew that Sophia probably knew he was full of shit. And then when he was talking to his mom like kind of has like dementia, like her mind is slipping. But then she was just like, why are you trying to rush me out of this house so quickly? She said, what did you do? And then he said, I accidentally killed Alberto Falcone. And then she was like, why? He was like, because he disrespected me, ma. And then that's when his mom came out, and now it's like, now I see where he gets it from. Because she was just like, oh, so you're like a little bitch. She's like, you're a bitch boy. She's like, you're a pussy. That's what it is. Somebody says one little thing, you get all emotional, and you can't handle it, so you got to kill him. She's like, you were raised better than that. She's like, now you got to fix it. She's like, show the city, show Gotham, show the bosses that my son ain't no bitch. So then he's just like, okay. He's like, okay. And then he ends up talking to Victor, and he's like, look, Vic, he was like, I got a plan, but I need to know that you're down for me like 100%. And I'm like, how are you going to ask him that? Because you already told him if he doesn't follow you, you're going to kill him. So basically Vic is down whether he wants to be down or not. So Vic was like, all right, cool. So we got the plan. Penguin is going back. He's trying to handle his business. And then while he's trying to handle his business, he ends up going to prison to go see Maroni. Because, in Batman lore, there's always like the Falcones, there's always the Maronis. So he goes to see Maroni, and then he tells Maroni, he was like, look, Carmine's dead. I know Carmine disrespected you. He disrespected me. But he said, but now's the opportunity for us, to do big things. Now's the time for us to do what we got to do for us. He said, let's team up together, and then let's take over Gotham the way it should have been for all along. Now, earlier, when Penguin was talking to Alberto Falcone, and he was telling him this, and he was asking him, he was like, yo, do you think I got what it takes to be like my dad? He actually showed him a pinky ring. And then he said, like, oh, you got your dad's ring, kid? He's like, that's cool. He said, yes, but this ring didn't always belong to my dad. He said it originally belonged to Maroni. And he said that my dad took the ring from Maroni, and he wears it as a trophy to let everybody know not to fuck with him. He said that this ring symbolizes power, and whoever has this ring has the power. So now, fast forward back to prison, because remember, Penguin shot him, and then he took the ring. He's talking to Maroni, and then after he asked Maroni, like, yo, let's click up and let's take over Gotham, Maroni basically told him, kiss my ass. He was like, he's like, I'm not teaming up with you because he said that you're not loyal. He said that you're somebody, you'll betray everybody. He's like, you'll act like you're a friend, and then you'll snake everybody from the back. And he was like, I don't want to trust the snake. And then Penguin's like, all right. He's like, well, think about it. He's like, think about it. I'll be back in a couple of days, and we'll see if we can do business. And then he was just like, fuck you. He's like, we're not doing business at all. And then Penguin took the ring. He put it on the table, and then he was like, oh, Maroni, I believe this is yours. And then Maroni was like, where'd you get that from? And he was like, hey, I'm the Penguin. He's like, I get shit. He said, but anyway, I'm just trying to do a solid. I'm trying to do right by you. Here's the ring. Think about my offer. So now Maroni has his pinky ring back. Penguin leaves. He ends up going back home, and on his way home, some goons try to run up on him. He tried to get away. He couldn't get away. The goons snatched him up, and when the goons brought him to the person who called for his head, it was actually Sophia Falcone. So Sophia got him tied up butt naked in a chair, and then she was like, oh, I went to your club that you think is yours, but it's actually mine. She said, I went to the club, and you were right. There was no evidence that my brother died. She said, however, I spoke to some kids who were in an alley, and they said a guy that's driving a plum-colored vehicle shot at them the other day, and he was coming out of the club. And then Penguin was like, oh, and then she had one of the kids there. She was like, this is one of the teenagers that told me everything that happened. And then Penguin was like, well, this kid's a liar. He was like, like I didn't have nothing to do with that shit. He's like, I wasn't even there, because he had an alibi from a hooker that he had talked to earlier. And then she was just like, so the kid is lying? That's what you're telling me? And he was like, yeah, the kid's a liar. So then she killed and shot the kid. So then she was just like, well, Oswald, she was just like, so you're the type of person, you'll say what you got to do to save your ass. She said, you'll even let me kill this innocent kid. Then I'm like, why'd you kill him then? But she ended up they ended up taking like some yarn, some wire, and put it under his armpit and then pulled as though they were trying to cut his arm off, which was very gross. But then she was just like, tell me the truth. She was like, what happened to my brother? Or we'll cut your nuts off, or whatever the case may be. And then while they were torturing him, a car crashed into the Falcone mansion. When everyone came outside to see what was going on, the car had a brick on the gas pedal, and then when they opened the trunk had her brother's dead body in it. And when Sophia looked at her brother's dead body and then screamed, the camera panned in, and you noticed that his pinky was cut off. And when I saw that, I said, he got him. I was like, that was good. He got him, because he took the body of her brother, gave it back to her, cut the pinky off. he gave the pinky ring back to Maroni. So now everybody's gonna, and then they even wrote the words payback on the trunk of the car. So now Sophia Falcone is gonna think Maroni killed her brother to get the pinky ring back. And I was like, that's some slick ass shit. Like, I fucks with Penguin. And then after that, Penguin and Victor, they were sitting down having breakfast or lunch. I don't know what time it was. And then he was just, because he had Victor put the body in the car and do the whole setup and everything. And then he was like, you did good, kid. He was like, I think me and you, we're going to make some beautiful music together. So now there's going to be this power vacuum. Now there's going to be this war between Sophia Falcone and Maroni. They're going to go back and forth. The Penguin's going to be there in the middle to pick up the pieces. The shipment's still coming in. We don't know what's going on with that. Batman's name did get mentioned. That was how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. And thank God they only gave us one episode, because I have a lot to cover and I do not have time to do like multiple episodes at one time. But I said I liked it. I liked it because like I like the mob aspect of it. I like the fact that it makes you think, and the surprise, like when you see how like his genius comes, coming together. Because as soon as he gave him that pinky ring back, I said, oh, here it comes. And when the pinky was cut off of his head, I was like, bam. I was like, you got him. I said, that's my dude. But share your questions, comments, and or concerns. Let me know what you thought about the first episode of The Penguin. Are you going to keep watching? Is this a series that you're into? Because I'm definitely into it so far. I do want to see where this is going. And we will continue to talk about it down in the comment section below. Check me out on Twitter and on Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. Because like I said, a lot of the stuff, Kite Man is over. I got Kite Man in the books. All the TV shows I was doing before have ended. So now we're doing Penguin. We're doing Agatha all along. And October 10th, we're going to do the Tomb Raider series, the Lara Croft Tomb Raider series. But October 3rd, we also get the return of Superman and Lois. And I'll be here to review it for you. And also check out my videos for New York Fashion Week, because I'm still uploading them as well. Oh, we hit the 1K mark. I forgot to mention that. Thank you guys, everyone, all the new subscribers, all my original subscribers, everyone that's still checking out Red Eyes Entertainment. We hit the 1K mark. I was going to do a video talking about like a thank you video for the 1K, but I got too busy. So I'm just going to say thank you in like the next 4 videos to everybody that follows me and supports my channel. Like I said, let's keep it rolling. Let's get to 2K and beyond and see where we can go as we bring you all this DC and Marvel and fashion goodness. So until next time, guys, for some more Penguin action, take care. Look out for the crime boss, because he's on the way. And we're out this bitch.